Hi guys, here at Tony Robbins today. Most important topic we discuss, change your life in 2025 with this one simple daily habit. You and I both know that a new year doesn't change your life. You do. We people keep waiting for January 1st, waiting for Monday, waiting for some miracle to shift everything they don't like about their lives. But nothing changes until you decide to change. And not someday, now. Because the truth is every single thing in your life comes down to what you do daily. What you repeat becomes your identity, and what you tolerate becomes your reality. Think about it. How many people say they want to change? Millions. Everyone says they want more energy, more confidence, more success, more peace, but very few are willing to create the structure inside their day that makes that possible. They hope, they wish, they talk, but they don't decide. The difference between an average life and an extraordinary one is one simple habit done daily with total commitment. This is not about some magic trick or a motivational quote you hang on your wall. This is about training your mind every single day to focus on what matters most. Because if you don't train your mind, the world will train it for you. And the world is noisy, chaotic, full of distraction. The world wants your attention, but your life wants your focus. In 2025, the most valuable currency isn't money, it's attention. Whoever controls your attention controls your destiny. So if you want to change your life, you've got to reclaim that attention. You've got to own your mind. That's the habit. One simple thing, learning to focus your mind on what builds you instead of what breaks you. Every day. When you wake up in the morning, before you look at your phone, before you look at your messages, before the world grabs your energy, stop, breathe. Remind yourself who you are. Tell yourself, today I choose focus. Today I choose growth. Because every day gives you two choices, reaction or creation. Most people live in reaction. They wake up reacting to notifications, reacting to problems, reacting to fear, and they wonder why they feel lost. But creators decide who they're going to be before the world tells them who they are. That's what this habit is about. The discipline of directing your focus intentionally. You do it once, it's motivation. You do it daily, it's transformation. Listen, transformation is not one big event. It's not the seminar. It's not the New Year's resolution. It's the tiny, consistent acts that seem invisible but compound into power. You do that one small thing every day, focusing your mind, taking control of your emotions, deciding your direction, and your life starts to move. You've been given a gift that most people never use, the ability to choose what you think about. And whatever you consistently think about, you feel. Whatever you feel, you act on. Whatever you act on, you become. So the entire trajectory of your life begins with a single moment of focus. That's it. That's the habit. If you spend 5 minutes every morning choosing your thoughts, choosing your emotional state, aligning your mind, your entire day changes. You don't just react anymore. You lead. And when you lead your mind, you lead your life. But here's the challenge: the world won't make it easy. You're surrounded by noise. Everyone's fighting for your attention. Social media, news, opinions, fear. If you let that noise dominate your morning, it's like letting strangers program your brain before you even start your day. No wonder people feel overwhelmed. No wonder they say they don't have time or energy. They gave it away before breakfast. So the question is simple: will you live 2025 on autopilot, or will you claim your focus? Because the habit that will change your life isn't complicated. It's a daily practice of mastering your mind before the world masters it for you. I want you to imagine something. Imagine you wake up tomorrow morning, and instead of instantly reaching for your phone, you sit up, take a deep breath, and say to yourself, I'm grateful to be alive. I'm in control of my focus. Today, I choose growth. Just that one act changes your physiology. You feel your energy rise. You feel your presence come back. Suddenly, you're not running from the day, you're creating it. That's how leaders live. That's how world-class performers operate. They don't start the day reacting to chaos. They start it by setting intention. And when you do that day after day, you rewire your brain for clarity, confidence, and power. See, most people underestimate the power of small things done consistently. They want big results right now. But success doesn't come from what you do occasionally. It comes from what you do constantly. And this one habit, directing your focus each morning, becomes the foundation for every other success in your life. When you master your focus, your emotions follow. When you master your emotions, your actions follow. When you master your actions, your destiny follows. Everything starts with that first decision each morning. Who am I going to be today? If you can answer that question with conviction every single day, your life will never be the same. Because most people don't ask it. They let circumstance decide. They let other people define them. but not you. In 2025, you're going to train your mind to decide before life decides for you. And here's what's beautiful. It doesn't take hours. It doesn't take special equipment. It takes 5 minutes of awareness, 5 minutes of presence, 5 minutes of gratitude. But those 5 minutes are the difference between a life of reaction and a life of creation. When you understand this, you stop waiting for motivation. You stop chasing inspiration. You become it. You realize you don't need to be in the perfect mood to act. You act your way into the right mood. That's what powerful people do. That's what leaders do. That's what you're going to do. Now, some people will tell you it's too simple. They'll say it can't be that easy. But that's because they've trained themselves to believe that change must be hard, painful, dramatic. It doesn't. It just needs to be consistent. And the only way to be consistent is to keep it simple. So start small. Every morning, before you let the world in, focus your mind. That's your habit. And as the days stack, you'll feel the shift. Your confidence will grow because you'll know you're in control. Your energy will rise because your mind isn't scattered anymore. You'll notice opportunities you used to miss because you're finally paying attention. Change happens when your awareness expands, and awareness expands through focus. So make this your daily ritual. 5 minutes of focus can rewrite your life. You see, 2025 won't change you. Your habits will. The year won't give you confidence. Your focus will. The calendar won't give you peace. Your mindset will. You are the one constant. And the moment you realize that, you stop being a victim of time and become a master of it. That's why the most powerful people in the world all have some version of this habit. They call it meditation, reflection, visualization, different names, same principle. They start each day by commanding their focus because focus is power. And the beautiful thing is, it's available to everyone. You don't need $1 million. You don't need perfect circumstances. You don't need to be lucky. You just need to take ownership of your focus every single morning. So tomorrow, when you wake up, don't just fall into the old pattern. Stop, breathe, decide. Because when you decide who you'll be today, you start changing who you'll be tomorrow. When you decide who you'll be today, you start to rewrite your entire future. Because decisions shape destiny, not the big dramatic ones everyone sees, but the small, invisible ones you make every morning before the world wakes up. Every choice you make about what to focus on becomes a vote for the kind of life you're going to live. And the more you cast those votes, the stronger your identity becomes. You begin to believe in your own power again. You begin to realize that you were never broken. You were just unfocused. That's what this habit is fixing, not your life, but your focus. Because when your focus is strong, your life follows. Most people don't lack motivation, they lack direction. They wake up and scatter their energy everywhere. A little on fear, a little on doubt, a little on comparison. And then they wonder why nothing grows. But energy flows where attention goes. So when you control your attention, you control your energy. When you control your energy, you control your future. This habit, mastering your focus daily, is how you take your power back. And once you taste that power, even for a moment, you'll never want to go back. Imagine you start each day by visualizing your best self, by feeling grateful for what you already have, by setting an intention for how you want to show up. Now picture that version of you walking through your day. Focused, calm, unshakable, things still happen. Challenges still come, but now you respond, not react. You act from clarity, not chaos. That's the difference this one habit creates. Because the truth is, life won't slow down for you. The world won't suddenly become easier. You have to get stronger. You have to build the mental muscles that make you unbreakable. And every morning you practice focus, you're training that muscle. You're building resilience. You're building the power to stay centered when others fall apart. Do you know why most people quit on their goals? It's not because they don't want it. It's because they lose sight of it. They forget why they started. They get distracted. But if you condition your focus daily, you don't forget. You keep that fire alive. You remind yourself every morning of your purpose. And when you live on purpose, you become unstoppable. Now, let me tell you something that might surprise you. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is freedom. When you have the discipline to focus your mind every day, you don't feel trapped. You feel free because you're not at the mercy of your moods anymore. You're not waiting for motivation. You've built structure. You've built certainty. Most people say, I'll act when I feel like it. But the great ones say, I'll act until I feel like it. That's power. That's what separates dreamers from doers. When you make focus a habit, your emotions stop running the show. You lead them. You see this one simple practice. Taking charge of your focus rewires your entire nervous system. It changes the chemistry of your brain. You begin the day with intention, and your body follows that intention. You walk differently, you talk differently, you think bigger. You start attracting different energy because you become different energy. And it doesn't take years, it takes consistency. People overestimate what they can do in a week and underestimate what they can do in a year. Imagine where you'll be 12 months from now if you start mastering your focus today. Imagine the clarity, the confidence, the sense of control. Imagine waking up every morning excited, not anxious. That's what happens when you live by design, not by default. Let me remind you, you are not your past. You are your habits. And the moment you change your daily habits, your identity shifts. You're not trying to become confident. You are acting confidently every morning. You're not hoping for peace. You're creating it with your focus. This is the beginning of a new story, a story where you are the author, not the audience. Every morning you're writing a new page. The pen is your focus. What story will you write? Maybe you've tried before. Maybe you started new routines and they fell apart. That's okay. Don't beat yourself up for that. Every master was once a beginner. The key is to begin again. The moment you choose to refocus, you're back on track. Progress is not about perfection, it's about persistence. The power of this one habit isn't in how perfect you do it, it's in how committed you stay. Even when you don't feel like it. Especially when you don't feel like it, because those are the days that count the most. Those are the days that build your character. In 2025, you're not chasing motivation, you're building momentum. Motivation fades, momentum compounds. Every day you practice focus, you add another brick to the foundation of your future. And when the storms of life come, and you'll stand firm because your foundation is strong. The habit is simple, take 5 minutes, focus your mind, set your state. But the results are profound because those 5 minutes create a ripple effect through every area of your life. Think about your relationships. When you're focused, you listen better. You communicate with presence. You connect deeper. In your work, you're not just busy, you're productive. You start creating results that others call luck, but you know it's focus. This is the quiet power that separates those who drift from those who dominate. The ones who drift are pulled by emotion, distraction, fear. The ones who dominate are anchored by focus, clarity, purpose. So here's your mission for the next 30 days. No matter what, you give yourself 5 minutes each morning, 5 minutes of total presence. No phone, no noise, just you and your mind. You ask yourself, what am I grateful for? What do I want to create today? Who will I be today? Then you visualize it. You feel it. You own it. And you step into your day like you mean it. Do that, and you'll notice something shift inside you. Your energy changes. Your confidence rises. Your doubts start to lose their power because you're not living unconsciously anymore. You're awake. You're aware. You're intentional. And here's what's even more powerful. When you live this way, you inspire others to do the same. People will see your focus. They'll feel your energy. They'll ask, what's different about you? And you'll know the answer. You finally stopped reacting to life and started creating it. That's what leadership is. Not controlling others, but mastering yourself so deeply that others can't help but follow your example. So when you wake up tomorrow and your mind wants to rush, when it wants to check your messages, when it tells you you're too tired or too busy, stop, breathe. Remember who's in charge. Remember the power you hold. You don't have to control the world. You just have to control your focus. Because when your focus is right, everything else falls into place. You start to make better decisions. You start to use your time differently. You stop wasting energy on things that don't matter. And that creates space for growth, space for creativity, space for peace. You don't need a perfect plan. You just need to start. Because once you start, momentum takes over. And momentum is magic. It makes hard things easier and impossible things possible. This is how transformation begins. Quietly, simply, one morning at a time. So take this seriously. Treat your focus like your life depends on it, because it does. Your focus determines your feelings. Your feelings determine your actions. Your actions determine your results. And your results determine your destiny. It all starts in your mind. You have no idea how powerful you are until you stop scattering your energy and start directing it. That's the secret. That's the shift. Tomorrow morning, I want you to rise with that awareness. Don't let the noise in. Don't rush. Don't rush. Don't react. Just breathe, feel gratitude, and decide who you will be. That's the daily habit that changes everything, not because it's dramatic, but because it's consistent, because it's real, because it's yours. You know what happens when you start mastering your focus every morning? The noise begins to fade. The doubts lose their grip. You stop chasing what doesn't matter and you start building what does. Suddenly, you realize that peace is not found in the absence of problems. It's found in the presence of power. And that power lives inside you. Every time you take those few minutes to command your focus, you're reminding yourself of something the world forgets you are not your circumstances. You are the creator of your response to them. That's the difference between a life of stress and a life of strength. The world right now is filled with people who are busy but not fulfilled. They're running but not arriving. They're doing but not becoming. And it's because they've forgotten to ask the most important question: where is my focus? Because if you focus on what's missing, you'll feel miserable. If you focus on what you can't control, you'll feel powerless. But if you focus on what you can create, what you can learn, what you can give, you'll feel alive again. Focus determines feeling, and feeling determines your life. That's why this daily habit matters so much. It's not about time, it's about direction. When you set your focus each morning, you aim your energy toward growth, and growth is happiness. You can lose anything: money, opportunity, comfort. But if you're still growing, you're winning. Because growth equals life. When you're growing, you feel momentum, you feel progress. And progress is what drives human beings more than anything else. It's not perfection, it's not reaching the end. It's the sense that you're moving forward. Think back on your life. The times you felt most alive weren't when everything was easy. It was when you were challenged and growing. That's what this one habit gives you: momentum. Because you begin every day in control, not confusion. But let's be real. Some mornings you won't feel like it. You'll feel tired. You'll hear that voice that says, skip it today. And that's when you have to remember, this how you feel in the moment is not who you are. Your emotions are temporary. Your decisions are permanent. If you act based on emotion, your life becomes a roller coaster. But if you act based on principle, if you choose focus, even when you don't feel like it, you become unstoppable. Because the habit isn't about feeling good, it's about getting good at feeling. When you train your mind to focus daily, you're not escaping your emotions, you're mastering them. You're learning to steer your state instead of being dragged by it. That's emotional fitness. That's real power. You can have all the knowledge in the world, all the strategies, all the resources, but if you can't master your emotional state, you'll sabotage your success. The world doesn't need more information. It needs more people who are emotionally strong, people who can stay centered under pressure, people who can focus when others panic. And that's who you're becoming. Every time you take a moment to center yourself, you're building that muscle. You're conditioning yourself to be calm in chaos, confident under stress, clear when others are confused. Let's make it real. Picture this: you wake up one morning and everything seems to go wrong. Your plans fall apart. Something unexpected happens. The day throws you off balance. But instead of spiraling into stress, you pause, you breathe, you remember your morning focus. You ask yourself, what can I control right now? What's the next best action I can take? And in that instant, you shift from being overwhelmed to being empowered. That shift, that single moment, is the result of training. It's the result of that one simple habit you've been practicing. That's why this matters. It's not just about good mornings, it's about building unshakable days. You become the kind of person who doesn't break when things get hard. You bend, but you don't break. You adjust, but you don't quit. You keep moving because your mind has learned to find power and presence. When you focus on what you can control, your energy multiplies. When you focus on what you can't, it drains. That's why your focus is everything. It's the filter through which you experience your entire life. There are people out there right now living their dream life, not because they're smarter, richer, or luckier, but because they've mastered their focus. They choose what to think about, what to feel, what to act on. They don't wait for life to motivate them. They create motivation from within. And you can do the same. You have the same brain, the same potential, the same access to focus. The only difference is consistency. Success is never about intensity. It's about consistency. Doing the right thing every day, even when no one's watching. Every morning, you have a chance to plant a seed in your mind. That seed is your focus. And what you water grows. If you water fear, it grows. If you water gratitude, it grows. If you water courage, it grows. So what will you water today? You can't always control the soil of life, but you can control the seed you plant and how much attention you give it. That's why people who master focus seem lucky. They're not lucky, they're intentional. And when you live intentionally, opportunities find you because clarity attracts direction. You start seeing things you never noticed before, not because they weren't there, but because now your mind is tuned to them. That's the beauty of this habit. It's not about changing the world around you. It's about changing the lens through which you see it. And once the lens changes, everything looks different. Problems turn into puzzles. Fear turns into feedback. Obstacles turn into opportunities. That's the real transformation when your perception evolves, and that starts with daily focus. Some people wait for a perfect moment to change. They say, when I get more time, I'll start. When I feel better, I'll focus. When life slows down, I'll reflect. But you and I both know, life never slows down. There's no perfect time. There's only now. And if you can't control your focus in chaos, you'll never control it in calm. So use the chaos as your classroom. Let every distraction become a test of your discipline. Let every challenge be a reminder of your control. Because this is where strength is built, not when it's easy, but when it's hard. When you practice this habit long enough, it becomes who you are. Focus becomes your default. Calm becomes your strength. Clarity becomes your nature. You don't have to think about it. It just flows. That's mastery. And when you live from that state, your relationships improve, your creativity expands, your health strengthens. Because stress doesn't own you anymore. You own your state, you own your day, you own your life. The truth is 2025 is not waiting for you to be ready. It's already here. The question is, are you ready for it? Are you ready to take ownership of your mornings, your mindset, your focus? Because if you are, there's nothing you can't achieve. Every breakthrough you've ever dreamed of begins with one simple moment of focus. One breath, one decision, one morning where you say, enough of letting life decide for me. I decide now. And when you say that and mean it, your entire reality begins to shift. So tomorrow morning when your alarm goes off and that old voice whispers, stay comfortable, I want you to remember this moment. I want you to remember that your comfort zone never built your dream life. Discipline did, focus did, and all it takes is one daily habit to start the revolution within. And maybe right now, you're realizing that change isn't about doing 1,000 new things. It's about doing one thing consistently until it becomes who you are. You see, discipline is not punishment. It's freedom, because when you train your mind to do what you said you would do, no matter how you feel, you become unstoppable. Most people are slaves to their feelings. They wake up, feel tired, and they obey that feeling. They feel afraid, and they obey that fear. But the ones who change their lives, they don't wait for the emotion to show up. They act first, and the emotion follows. You want confidence. You build it by doing what scares you. You want focus. You build it by saying no to distractions. You want peace. You build it by doing what aligns with your values every single day. Every habit is a vote for the kind of person you are becoming. Each morning you practice the habit of clarity, that simple daily habit we talked about. You are casting a vote for the version of yourself that is in control, centered, and ready. And over time, those votes add up. The first day, you don't feel different. The 5th day, you notice something small. By the 20th day, people start to ask you, what's changed about you? And you just smile because you know it's the power of that one simple daily habit. You're not chasing motivation anymore. You're living momentum. Motivation comes and goes. Momentum stays because it's built from your choices. It's the quiet fire inside that says, I've got this, even when no one's watching. When you wake up tomorrow, before you reach for your phone, before the world's noise floods your mind, stop. Take 1 minute. Ask yourself, who do I want to be today? Not what do I have to do, not what do I fear, but who do I choose to be? And then feel it. Feel that energy fill you up. Feel that certainty, that purpose. That is the moment you train your mind. That is the moment that changes your life. Now here's the truth: success is boring. It's doing the same simple things day after day when no one is clapping, when no one is watching, when no one cares. But when that one habit becomes your identity, when it becomes automatic, life begins to shift in ways you can't predict. Opportunities open, relationships deepen, your body responds, your energy changes. So many people think they're stuck because life is hard. But the real reason they're stuck is because they haven't committed to one small habit long enough for it to change their standards. When you raise your standard, when you say, this is who I am now, the world reorganizes around you. The people who doubted you start to respect you. The chaos that used to pull you down loses power. You see, 2025 isn't waiting to change you. It's waiting for you to show up differently. And you can start that right now. Not tomorrow, not next week. Now, Right where you are, you can breathe, reset, and take ownership. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need permission. You just need commitment to one habit that serves your growth. Maybe for you, it's that morning clarity ritual. Maybe it's gratitude. Maybe it's reflection. The exact form doesn't matter. What matters is that you do it every day without fail, because every time you keep your promise to yourself, your self-trust grows, and self-trust is the foundation of confidence. Confidence is the foundation of courage. Courage is the foundation of change. So keep building, keep stacking those wins, because at the end of this year, when you look back, you won't just see progress, you'll see a new identity. The person who didn't just hope for change, but created it. You know what's crazy? Most people underestimate what they can do in a year and overestimate what they can do in a day. They want everything right now. And when it doesn't happen overnight, they quit. But champions, they play the long game. They show up when it's boring. They show up when it's painful. They show up when no one believes. That's the difference. That's what creates transformation. And the one simple daily habit, that act of clarity, that moment each morning when you center yourself, breathe, and decide who you want to be, that's your anchor. Because storms will come. You'll have setbacks, heartbreaks, failures. But the habit keeps you grounded. It reminds you that you are bigger than your circumstances, stronger than your fears, and far more capable than you've been led to believe. Listen to me, you were not born to repeat the same day for the rest of your life. You were born to evolve. You were born to rise. You were born to look at your past and say, that made me stronger. You were born to rewrite your story, not by talking about it, but by living it differently every single day. Every morning, life gives you a blank page. What you write on it is up to you. Will you fill it with excuses or with action, with fear or with courage, with distraction or with discipline? The choice is always yours. And when you make that choice enough times, it becomes your identity. You'll stop needing motivation. You'll start running on mission. And when you run on mission, there's nothing you can't do, because the truth is the world doesn't change when you shout louder. The world changes when you show up differently. When you become the kind of person who lives by principles, not moods, who acts on purpose, not impulse. And maybe right now, someone out there is watching this thinking, but I've failed so many times. Good, because failure is proof that you're trying. Failure means you had the courage to step into the arena. Failure means you're human. But here's the secret. You can't fail forever if you refuse to quit. The only way you lose is if you give up on yourself. So don't stop. Don't slow down. Don't let your past define your potential. Every day, remind yourself, I'm becoming better. I'm becoming stronger. I'm building something no one can take from me. The difference between those who dream and those who achieve is consistency. One simple daily habit, done relentlessly, creates a lifetime of results. That habit may take only 5 minutes, but it shapes the other 23 hours and 55 minutes of your day. Because the way you start is the way you live. And when you look back at 2025, I want you to remember this moment. The day you decided to stop waiting for motivation and start living with intention. The day you stopped saying someday and said, today is the day I start. Because the future isn't waiting for you to get ready. The future is waiting for you to take the first step. This is your time, this is your year, this is your life. Stand up for it, protect it, feed it, build it. Don't let anyone convince you that small habits don't matter. They're everything. Because when you master your mornings, you master your life. And when you master your mind, you master your destiny. So as you move forward, hold that vision, breathe it in, and take action every single day. Because 1 year from now, you'll thank yourself for what you did today. One simple daily habit, one moment of clarity, one decision to stay consistent. That's what will change your life in 2025 and beyond.